Hey man, I learned a new term this week called the butter knife. And boy, I bet you there's people having nightmares of that all over the country, and especially Frankie, huh?
That's right. If you guys missed the Internet Invitational, Frankie hit an unfortunate thin chip there at the end. And, you know, I've hit a lot of thin chips in my life. It's not fun to do and it can get you in trouble. In his case, cost him some money.
Yep.
So we're going to try to teach you how to never hit a thin chip again with Ed's method.
So you'll see a lot of comments on whether or not he should have putted it, whether or not he should have used a 7-iron, but he had to hit a relatively really good shot in that situation, and I'm not sure he didn't try to hit the correct shot. I'll show you some of the other options he could have had later, but I think he chose the right club and tried to hit the right shot. He just didn't execute it. One of the things that you have to understand is we're trying to really hit a good chip shot is that we're still trying to swing the club head in a circle around us. And most people think that you're really supposed to hit down on chips, but we're still trying to swing in a circle motion. And we would like the bottom of our circle to be just in front of the ball. And so I like using this hoop to kind of illustrate that. And you'll see that as that club on the backswing, it should work up and then back down and bottom out correctly. When people are having trouble blading chip shots, the biggest mistake that I see that most people make is that they have the club too low to the ground on their backswing. Therefore, it's not going up and down like that hoop, but it's too flat a circle, and they don't have room underneath the ball then to get the club on the ball correctly. And then because it's low back here, it'll be high through impact, and it'll hit the leading edge of the sand wedge and the blade across the green in the water. And so it's really that simple. And if you understand how this club head is supposed to swing on this shot, it'll really help you. A lot of people think they're hitting those shots because they're too risky. In my opinion, most people are bad at this shot and tend to hit blades simply because of their backswing and because of their dress position. So if you'll notice what he's left-handed and I'm right-handed, but as he's set up, he's still set up like he's hitting driver. So his back shoulder's way too low, promotes a low takeaway and an upswing follow through, and that's a blade or a butter knife just waiting to happen. And so one of the keys to this shot is really to have your feet pretty close together so your weight is pretty central. But boy, we really like to have our shoulders level or even our back shoulder a little higher than our front shoulder. And that will promote a takeaway that's up and down and where you can get the club on the ball correctly. And once you get set up correctly and have the right idea with your backswing, it'll really, really help you. The other thing that I like to do that I've shown in several chipping and pitching videos is I like to take an alignment stick on these shots, and I like to just put the alignment stick maybe a couple club head widths behind the ball. And as I take my swings and this goes up and down, I should never hit this alignment stick. When you saw the ball screaming across the green and headed towards the tracker boat, he would have hit this stick on the downswing before he hit the ball and bottomed out behind the ball, thus blading the shot. So if you're having trouble with these blades, an alignment stick's the simplest way to do it, and learn to swing that club up and down where you're bottoming out without hitting the stick. And I promise you, it'll go a long ways towards making sure you're really striking the ball correctly and you have a chance to pull off these shots. And so as I would hit this shot from here, shoulders pretty much level, feet pretty close together, the ball just slightly right of the center of my sternum, and I'm going to swing this club up and down brush the grass but not hit the alignment stick. So as I hit these shots just towards the middle of this green, I can just get this club to work up and down. Learn to set up correctly. Learn to have your shoulders level. Practice with an alignment stick behind you, and you'll go a long ways towards learning how to really improve these chips and pitches. And I still think it's the best club to use for most pretty good players to get the ball in the air and land on the green, rather than trying to figure out how your ball is going to roll through the fairway turf. Now that I've shown you really how to use a sand wedge to hit this shot, there's other options. And you know, I'm often asked by students course management ideas or improvements that they could make in their game course management wise. And I say, you know, there's really not a book on course management, because course management is simply understanding your own game and playing to your strengths and avoiding shots that are your weaknesses. And so say that your tendency is to blade wedges and chili dip them and blade them and then chili dip them, and you know that. Well, in a high pressure situation, that may not be the right shot for you. I find too many players try to hit the shot because they think it's the correct shot to play, but if it's not the correct shot for you to play in this circumstance, then you can learn some other techniques to do it. Depending on the part of the country that you're in, when you're off the green in a closely mown area, a putter might be a really good choice. It's pretty lousy choice where I'm at in Missouri. This is zoysia, and it's November and it's going dormant, but it's really unpredictable putting, in my opinion, on the zoysia. You don't know how it's going to bounce, and to be able to control your distance is pretty difficult. But it is a no-brainer as far as your worst putt's usually going to be better than your worst chip. And so, but boy, if you play on Bermuda grass or bent grass situations, putter could be a really good choice for you from here. You got to practice it to learn how hard to hit it, but it's simply making a putting stroke and getting the ball to roll on the ground. My other choice in this situation, rather than a sand wedge, would be to use one of your hybrids, or in my case here, I don't carry a hybrid in my bag, but I have a 7-wood, and it's a pretty simple shot as well. Off of our turf, I like it better than putter because it does get the ball up in the air for a few feet, where I don't have to judge the grass so much. But boy, I can grip down on the shaft to make it a lot shorter so I can get a lot closer to the ball. I can even take my putting grip if that's how you want to do it. That's probably what I recommend. And boy, we can just learn to make a putting motion with our fairway wood, and we can at least get the ball rolling and going towards the green. And it's just a matter of learning how hard to hit it to control your distance. But 15 or 20 minutes of practice, and you really ought to be able to feel exactly how hard it is that I need to hit it to hit a pretty good shot. And so, in my opinion, in the tournament the other day, that had probably, since he had a tendency to hit blade shots anyway, it sounds like, and he's going to forever have the nickname Butter Knife. You know, this was probably his best play, was a hybrid or whatever. And I blame his caddy and his playing partners and his captain as much as him on what decision he made to play anyway. So, but pretty simple shot. I got my 7-wood, just back and through. I can chip it on the green and I can roll it like a putt up to the hole, and at least I got a putt at it. it'll work out pretty good, and it's a pretty simple, easy shot. So try it, and I think it'll really help you.